gotta click go live on Instagram. Go live. Come on. You can do it. I hope I didn't screw this up. Well, I'm live here. I'm live on I am now live on Instagram. I'm still getting used to this, folks. That was fun. So I'm going to do another one. Well, I'm going to do the next segment. Fuck it. I'm going to do it live. We're doing it live. That's one of my favorite videos on the internet, by the way. You don't know what I'm talking about? Fucking ask me. I don't know. Hit me up in the comments. Please, actually, I really probably should. I'm going to say sarcastically a lot. Please like and subscribe. But, please like and subscribe. Fucking follow me. All right. So I just watched back my 1 minute and my first segment. And I just there's two notes. At least on the shitty quality that I listened to on the download, it sounded like I said I was a spiritual guide. I am not a fucking spiritual guide. None of that shit. No, this is not one of those podcasts. Okay. Spiritual guy, G-U-Y, which I believe is an all gendered term, but that's for another fucking podcast. And then I also, I'm feeling insecure. Did I hit lust strong enough? I don't know. If you watched that and you didn't know that I was trying to hit, fucking let me know in the comments. All right, so let me open up my little red book, and as I promised, let me do the whole thing. As promised, we're into segment 2, which is called Illogical Sanity, and I'm going to talk about democracy or whatever. Here's my little red book. I got it. All right, so democracy is falling, right? I think. I don't know. I don't know anything, but it seems like democracy is on a downturn. Like, I'm not saying it's a fucking permanent thing, right? But there's definitely a rise in authoritarianism. I think that's pretty obvious. There's not any faith in the American election system right now. And that's a large part because the last election was contested. Trump contested the last election. I don't know how officially what contested is, but we are questioning the results as a nation. I'm not going to weigh in on whether I think the election was stolen or not. If you know me, you know my fucking answer. But obviously, just painting with a broad stroke, a lot of people aren't really believing too much in democracy right now. Another part of that, by the way, is that Joe Biden is not having primaries. Well, not Joe Biden. The Democratic Party is canceling primaries. There's a few states that are just not having primaries. Now, there are people challenging him. Now, they're not particularly viable candidates. RFK Jr. is running independently, and that's interesting. He was running as a Democrat. Now he's running independently. I'm sure I'll talk about RFK Jr. at some point. But Representative Dean Phillips specifically got into the race because he was like, Joe Biden is a weak candidate. He's been a good president. We can all fucking debate that. This is Dean Phillips' words. He's been a good president. I'm not running against him, but he's too old and his poll numbers are too weak. And I think that's a fucking good criticism because I don't particularly want Donald Trump to come back in the White House because I do think it's not great for democracy. But now the fucking Democrats are fucking canceling primaries, right? It's insane. Or they're just kicking everybody off the ballot. They're kicking everyone. It's just Biden on the ballot. It's insane. This is anti-democratic. I did not think I would see this in my life. Basically, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I am losing my faith in democracy. That's why I'm doing this rant. Okay, back to the notebook. I closed it. There we go. Talked about Trump, talked about Biden. Okay. Oh, yeah. And also, I like to put things in a historical context. I think I said that up top. But I think we're at a very unstable time in human history. And I think it makes a lot of sense because we're at the very beginning of the information age, right? Have I said this before? I've said it to my friends before. I don't know if I've said it to the internet before. What a fucking weird thing to do. But we're talking about the internet. The amount of information that we have and the freedom of communication that we have, it's it could never have been imagined by people like 2 generations ago. Ask your parents, ask your grandparents if they're still alive. I mean, if you're like a Gen Zer or what, a Gen Alpha, if I have fucking Gen Alpha listeners, awesome. And maybe your parents would have seen this, but I fucking am 37 years old. I got the internet in middle school. And there's no way that like 10-year-old me could have even imagined the internet. And most adults lived half of their life like this. And then the internet came. Like, I feel like if you don't feel sympathy for boomers and Gen X, not Gen X, I don't know, boomers and their parents, the greatest generation, is that what we call them? If you don't feel sympathy for them having to like figure out devices and everything, it's you should. You should. Because I am 37 years old, and like if the metaverse comes around, I'm going to be a mess. I can't figure it out. I can barely figure out how to go live on Instagram and YouTube at the same time. So let's have some, even though, yes, the boomers have ruined the planet and democracy is probably failing because of the boomers, let's give them some credit. They got the internet thrown on them in the middle of their, while they're trying to figure out how to be parents, which I imagine is very difficult. I'm not a parent yet. I'm a parent of 2 cats. I'm sure they'll make appearances. Like, how can you imagine that happening? Like, as a human species, we were not prepared for the internet. It just came upon us, you know? It changed everything. So, of course, the dot-com collapse happened. Of course, everything has been disruptive. It's like the printing press. You know, once the printing press, like the printing press was the precursor to the fall of, you know, monarchies, authoritarianism. The printing press gave rise to democracy, in my opinion. I'm not a historian. I'm sure there are historians who would argue that. But in my opinion, the printing press gave rise to democracy. Because ideas could spread around more, you know? It wasn't just, you know, who you talk to face. It was who you talk to face. And if you nail something up on a tree, whoever reads it, you know? And if you get popular, imagine going viral in the old times, you know? It's like somebody takes one of your pamphlets and just reads it in town squares all over Europe. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's how hard it was to go viral. And now I am currently going viral, I hope. So that's, you know, the business, commerce, everything about the world is getting upended by the internet. And even though we're still 20, how many years are we into the internet by now? What is it, 2024? I got it in, 20 years into it? I don't know. I got it in middle school. So I got it in the late 90s. So like 25 years into it. 25 years into most people having the internet. We're still figuring it out. Obviously, it's changing. The internet is changing so quickly, you know, like we're not on the same internet. It has nothing to do with the dial-up speed, but like how the internet functions, how things get put in front of you, products, everything. It's all different, you know. It's like the algorithm. There's more. We weren't on the algorithm internet. Now we're on the algorithm. Or at least partially on the algorithm. When you go on to fucking wherever and you're looking for stuff, you're scrolling through Instagram, you're scrolling through Twitter, you're on Google, you're not on the internet. You're on one algorithm. All right. I never had that thought before. Did it make any sense? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so clearly society is being upended because of the internet. AI is going to play a huge role in that. We're at the infancy of AI. Who knows how that's going to go? That's going to be really interesting. We should definitely pay attention to that. I'm probably going to try to have some strong opinions on that. I don't really know what opinions to have on AI right now. It's crazy. I have thoughts. I don't know if I have opinions. It sucks. I don't necessarily think it's going to take artists' jobs. I'm going to talk about being an artist a lot on this podcast because that's fucking who I am. I just need some more whiskey, by the way. What was I? Artist. Oh yeah. I don't know that how threatened artists are. I haven't read the details of the SAG-AFTRA contract. I don't know if they were even released. But AI is going to affect much more than the artist. It's going to change business. I don't know if it's going to take people's jobs. As a business owner, I'm like, I don't know, should I take an AI class and figure out how to make it work for me? And will that lead me to letting people go? I don't know. It could be a big economic disruption. Fuck. We live in a fucking crazy time. I hope that like historians watch this 100 years from now and are like, this kid. I hope they still call me a kid, 37 years old and gray hair in my beard. So part of what's happening is that faith in the democratic process is falling. I keep forgetting that I'm talking about democracy. Faith in the democratic process is falling, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's at least being challenged. I don't know, like it's being challenged right now. We got to figure out as a species, if we want to keep democracy around, we got to figure out how to fucking communicate with each other. Everyone calm down and stop hating people who have different opinions from you. That is what I don't know who they are, but like that is not going to help us hold on to democracy. This whole polarization and hating the other side so much that you can't even like find anything to agree with them on. I will go on many rants about this, I'm sure. We got to we have to be less polarized if we want to save the values that we live in right now. Because they're changing, like they're going to change. Like Gen Alpha, like who the fuck knows? I'm not trying to be like a paranoid, like fear monger because I don't believe fear. Well, I'm not afraid. And like, I'm not trying to make you afraid of politics because don't worry about politics. This is going to be on my third segment. I'm going to talk about it. Stick around for the spiritual segment. I look like a fucking lunatic. Yeah, and then obviously on the grand scheme of things, we're fighting a war with Russia, which is like, I don't think anybody in Russia believes they live in a democracy. I know technically they have elections, but come on, Putin is a dictator. And I'm not going to get into my opinions on the war in Ukraine because they're too complicated to that, but I hope fucking Ukraine wins. And China is clearly wanting to invade Taiwan. And I'm not saying like my life would be horrible if China took over the world. Like I'm sure people are very happy just living in China. People are probably very happy living in Russia. And you can be happy living under any government. So that's probably the upshoot of this. You can be happy no matter what. Just don't worry about it too much. But you should pay attention because it's interesting. I know that I'm going to be happy no matter what. I know that I'm going to be good no matter what. Even if, the zombie apocalypse comes, which I don't think the zombie apocalypse is going to come. But, we just lived through COVID. Who the fuck knows? I know that I'm going to be fine. And it has nothing to do with democracy. I do hope democracy sticks around because I like it. I would like to have more faith in it. And I would rather live in an American-dominated world than a Russian or Chinese-dominated world with all the flaws that our country has. I'm sure I'll discuss that later. If you disagree with me, let me know, by the way. I'd love to have the discussion because I do want this segment to have guests. So China's watching. I already said that. I don't know if you don't know what BRICS is. It means BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It's not like a military alliance, but it's like a trade alliance. But it's coming up to like kind of balance the power of the West, and like 20 more countries want to join or just joined. India is huge, by the way. Just seeing how India is going to play out on the geopolitical stage. They are huge, and we really should keep them close. Yes. Okay, so the button. So anyway, I don't trust Trump. I don't trust Biden. I don't want. Fuck. You know what? Vote for a fucking third party. I'm coming out and I'm saying it. Vote for a fucking third party this year, especially if you live in a state that is entirely one color. All right. Not enough people are going to listen to this podcast for it to actually matter. And I'm not saying your vote doesn't matter. That's a whole other thing. One, the most important thing about fucking democracy is voting local. I'm telling this to myself too. I need to get more involved in my local politics. I need to, know who my fucking town council members are. Because that's where you really make change. That's where you actually you can actually decide hey, do we want this fucking car dealership to be built around the corner from our house? Yes or no? I don't know. So yeah, that's huge. And politics in general, oh God, I don't want to get off on too much of a politics rant. It's going to happen a lot. Apparently I think about it a lot. Vote local. Oh yes. So the button of this whole thing. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust Biden. I've voted for Green Party candidates before and they're not doing it for me. They're not doing anything. I am very interested in the Forward Party that Andrew Yang founded. But they're not running a presidential candidate. So fuck it. I'm running for president. That's right. I'm fucking running for president. I'm doing a write-in candidate. Write-in Michael Tyler. I mean, don't, whatever. Do whatever you want. But if you did, it would be a joke. It would be a joke. This is a joke. But we got to figure out democracy. And you should start voting local. I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Do whatever the fuck you want. All right. I'm going to come back and do words of woo in a little bit. Just going to give myself a little break. Maybe refill my whiskey. Probably talk to my wife a little bit. Maybe I'll review the video. So if you're watching this now, I'll come back in a little bit. All right.